After Ye Schwan had beaten Liu Jinglong to a pulp, he bent down and picked up the low-grade yellow rank saber. It was the first time he had ever laid eyes on a spirit weapon, and with wide eyes of astonishment, he murmured to himself, "This saber looks pretty amazing." Meanwhile, the male student who was Liu Jinglong's friend was left gaping in disbelief after hearing Zhao Mingping say that Ye Schwan had already reached apprentice stage 7. That brat really reached apprentice stage 7. But senior sister Xiuling Schwan is only at stage 6. The boy was shaken. Zhao Mingping, however, was sweating bullets. "If you're asking me if it's possible, it just might be. The cultivation realms for life professions and combat professions may share the same names, but the way of advancing is completely different." He pictured a martial practitioner training with rotating wooden stakes, then explained combat professions require constant effort in cultivation. Fighting, getting injured, comprehending battle techniques, and gaining experience. At the beginning, progress is a little slower. Zhao Mingping then imagined that same figure leaping up, unleashing a flurry of kicks at 2 wooden posts. Then he pictured another martial practitioner sitting cross-legged, hands interwoven before his dantian, cultivating in silence. But once they gain comprehension, their progress will accelerate faster and faster. Life professions, on the other hand, are much easier. Take alchemists or artifact refiners, for example. They don't need to fight at all, they just need to devote their entire focus into their profession. He envisioned someone with a sword in one hand and a hammer in the other, forging sharp weapons at an anvil. Finally, thinking of a peak-tier life profession student, Zhao Mingping continued, for example, Ye Schwan is a butcher. As long as he keeps slaughtering pigs every day, he can raise his realm. Hearing this, Xiuling Schwan planted her hands on her hips, her face twisted in displeasure, a dark aura radiating off her. So that's what he relies on to reach such a high realm? Then isn't this completely unfair to combat professions? Zhao Mingping's expression hardened as he stared straight ahead, denying her complaint. Each time Ye Schwan raises his realm, the number of pigs he must kill doubles. After reaching the initiate stage, the number required becomes enormous. However, once combat professions master battle techniques in the early stages, their speed of advancement later on will also accelerate. The gossipy boy beside him rolled his eyes in horror. So right now, that brat's high realm lets him defeat senior brother Jinglong. But in a few years, won't combat professions crush him into the dirt instead? Zhao Mingping gave a slight nod of confirmation. But his face looked constipated, and sweat dripped down his cheeks, betraying his uncertainty. All of a sudden, Ye Schwan, who had been ignoring them all this time, turned and said casually, "That's right." Then, as if nothing had happened, he waved at Zhao Mingping. "If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving first." But Xiuling Schwan's expression turned gloomy. She wasn't willing to let him leave so easily. She narrowed her eyes and mocked, "Ye Schwan, why do you put yourself through so much suffering? All this time, slaughtering pigs day and night to raise your realm, was it just to show off to me?" Then she arrogantly declared, "Let me tell you the truth. I've already been directly admitted into Qingqing Academy. You and I are now people of 2 different worlds." Ye Schwan's face darkened. He was speechless, utterly baffled by her attitude, and chose not to respond. Before he could react, Nan Nan's expression turned cold as she suddenly snapped, "I can't stand it anymore." Her words made Ye Schwan hesitate for a moment. Then, with hands on her hips, she stormed forward and barked at Xiuling Schwan, "Can you people just stop already? Ye Schwan and I came here to look for the blood moon flower." Her glare carried a hint of fury, her scolding full of boldness. "What are you people even rambling about? It's just a coincidence you bumped into us here, don't start making ridiculous assumptions." Hearing this, the fawning female student who always clung to Xiuling Schwan snapped back angrily, "TCH, what trash. Senior sister Xiuling Schwan doesn't even want him, and yet someone still treats him like a treasure? You must be blind." As for Liu Jinglong's sycophantic lackey, he showed no fear and frowned as he chimed in, Exactly. That Ye Schwan guy doesn't have any real ability at all. In seducing women, though, he sure is skilled. Look at him, already picked up a girl. A prostitute paired with a dog. Eternal companionship. The words had barely left the boy's mouth when Nan Nan charged forward and delivered physical persuasion across the faces of all 5 of Zhao Mingping's students, without missing a single one. Zhao Mingping, his cheeks burning red from the slap, flew into a rage, clutching his face and doubting life itself. Why did she even hit me too? Meanwhile, Nan Nan, having vented her anger, winced as her hand throbbed in pain. She rubbed it while letting out a disdainful humph. Schwan, standing beside her, just stared at his teammate in bewilderment. Schwan, with one cheek swollen from the slap, gnashed her teeth and glared furiously. You dare hit me? Cold air radiated from her as she drew her sword and advanced, voice low and threatening. Do you have a death wish? But Nan Nan suddenly raised a token of identity high in the air and shouted, Just try and lay a hand on me. At once, Zhao Mingping's face turned pale, his pupils dilating in shock. That token was no stranger to the head of an academy like him. He immediately stepped in front of Schwan, confusing her, before shouting in panic, Wait, stop right there. Inwardly, he cursed. No wonder this girl looked so familiar. It turns out she's the eldest daughter of the Shia family. In the blink of an eye, Zhao Mingping's attitude flipped 180. Rubbing his hands together obsequiously, he bowed and fawned, Young Lady Shia, what brings you here? Seeing that he had recognized her identity, Nan Nan lifted her chin arrogantly and let out a cold snort. A moment later she crossed her arms, gave them all a look of disdain, and said flatly, Mind your own business. I'll go wherever I please. On the contrary, Principal Zhao Mingping, the conduct of your students is truly worrying. Her words made Zhao Mingping break into an even colder sweat. He hastily bowed and stammered, Yes, it's my fault. I'll definitely discipline them properly when we get back. But Nan Nan still had no intention of letting them off. She pointed straight at Schwan and ordered, Tell her to apologize to Schwan. Faced with that finger, Schwan furrowed her brows, sweat trickling down her temple. She realized she had kicked an iron wall. She's the daughter of Xia Beihai? Why is she with Schwan? Off to the side, Zhao Mingping, exasperated, shut his eyes and reminded her, Hurry up and apologize. Do you hear me? Now, with no choice left, Schwan reluctantly turned her head and spat out a curt, Sorry. Inside, however, her heart boiled with resentment. Xia family? Just you wait. Schwan, seeing this, didn't bother to hold it against her. He waved his hand dismissively and said to Nan Nan, Let's go. If we delay, we'll miss bus line 2. Suddenly, a loud shout cut through the air. You're not leaving! Liu Jinglong was down on one knee, clutching his injured side while reaching out with his other hand, roaring, Return my saber! But Schwan just slung the saber over his shoulder, turned casually, and replied, If you want it back, come and take it. I'll be waiting any time. Nan Nan stuck out her tongue, even pulling at the corner of her eye in mockery at Liu Jinglong, further infuriating him. Dirt-streaked, dripping with sweat from the pain, he could only shriek hoarsely, You just wait for me. Some time later, deep in a forest where the trees stood withered and lifeless, without a single blade of grass in sight, Nan Nan pulled a folded map from her robes. She studied the marked destination, then glanced across at the cliff wall glowing faintly red. Looks like this is the place. We'll need to be careful. At that moment, Schwan saw a system notification flash before his eyes. Exclusive Butcher's Blade selected. Effect activated. Each pig slain by this butcher's knife will grant 0.2 free attribute points. Schwan's heart leapt with delight. 0.2? Double the amount. Looks like choosing this blade was the right call. Just then, he noticed Nan Nan pulled 2 crystals, one red, one blue, from her chest. His eyes went wide as he stammered, pointing at where she had drawn them from. Hey. What do you have in there? A treasure chest. What are those? Blushing furiously, Nan Nan held them up. These are Thunderfire pearls. Without proper defenses, even someone at the initiate stage would be gravely wounded if one of these exploded. When the blood moon python appears, These might save our lives at a critical moment. Seeing that she had such powerful protective items, Schwan felt reassured. He walked to the edge of the cliff and instructed calmly, "Stay here. I'll go up first and take a look." With that, he leapt into the air, soaring toward the opposite cliff where crimson flowers bloomed in full. Across the gap, Nan Nan gasped when she saw Schwan reaching for the flowers. "I can't believe this place really exists. And this isn't an ordinary blood moon flower, it's the twin blood crystals." Her words caught in her throat as her eyes widened in horror. Right then, behind Schwan, a colossal blood moon python emerged, its scarlet eyes glowing ominously. Sensing the killing intent, Schwan glanced back in alarm. But upon seeing the beast's grotesque form, serpentine body with a pig's head, tongue flicking as it glared at him like a bullet, Schwan simply muttered nonchalantly, "What are you staring at? Never seen someone picking flowers before?"